to be discussing photosynthesis. Just looking at the word photosynthesis, photo means light, synthesis means to make. So we're really talking about making something using light. So really what we're talking about is using the light from the sun and changing it into a form of chemical energy. The main idea of photosynthesis is that plants will make a substance called glucose. Really, glucose is just another name for sugar. Here's the chemical formula for glucose, but when we refer to this, glucose or sugar, we're really meaning the same thing, but that's the product the plant is trying to make by using the sun. The reason that the plant will use the sugar or the glucose is that that's what a plant is made out of. The stems, leaves, everything about the plant is actually made out of sugar, which is a hard concept for sometimes people to understand because we think of sugar as being sweet, but sugar does not have to be sweet. So any form of a plant, even vegetables, are made out of sugar, which is a carbohydrate. So just showing the point that even these radishes will be made out of sugar, which the plant uses from using chemical reactions made from the sun. Here's the equation for photosynthesis. Over on this side of the arrow, we have our reactants, or the things that go in to the plant. So the plant will use carbon dioxide, water, energy from the sun, and from that we'll have a chemical reaction that takes place. And the products that are made are glucose here, water again, and oxygen, which the plant gives off as a waste product. This is considered an endothermic reaction because we're putting energy into it on this side of the arrow from the sun. So it actually needs energy from the sun to make the equation work. This is what the plant's using for itself to make sugar for the plant. This is a waste product, the oxygen. In photosynthesis, there's two parts that actually make the photosynthesis occur. Number one, you have light-dependent reactions that take place with light, and then you'll have the light-independent, or sometimes called the dark reactions, which take place without light. And we'll go into what goes on with each one of those reactions. In the light reactions, this is where the sunlight strikes the chlorophyll in the plant. Basically what you have happening is it's going to produce a molecule called ATP, which is a form of energy, and it's going to kind of charge up the system to get it ready to be able to undergo the dark reactions. So this one is using the sunlight to kind of get it going and create the energy. The dark reactions are sometimes also called the Kelvin cycle. Basically what you have going on here is where the sugar or glucose is actually being made. So they're using the ATP from the light reactions to make the sugar or glucose. And then eventually the system charges down. But the overall reaction is that the plant is using the sunlight to make sugar or glucose. The organisms that do this process, photosynthesis, are called autotrophs or producers. And really that means anything that makes its own food, which is what a plant is doing when it undergoes photosynthesis. So here's an example that plants do this. Some forms of bacteria will also do this, but there's two names for them which mean the same thing. Just basically means that they make their own food. And that concludes photosynthesis.